I have decided to make a video out of a section from a delightful book that I received years ago from a friend. The book is entitled Trappist, and it is written by a man named Michael Downey, Living in the Land of Desire. The friend just casually offered this to me across the table in a visit I had at his home. He said, "You take it with you, don't worry about getting it back to me. You're going to be blessed by this thing." Because it speaks to all Christians, and it speaks to community, and it speaks to quiet, contemplative times wherein one's appreciation of the Lord grows, one's heart is enlarged. So anyway, this comes from a section entitled Living in Communion. The monk participates in the ministry of communion preeminently through the common life with his brothers. All his work, prayer, and worship are ordered to fuller participation in this mystery of communion. The life of the mind is cultivated through lectio divina and through study. The purpose of lectio and study in the monastic life is not to gather useful information about the scriptures or the patristic sources or the great spiritual guides of the church, east and west. Rather, through lectio and study, the monk participates in the very life of God. The reflective life in the monastic tradition is an activity in which God is glorified. Study is an act of praise. The better known, the more God is loved and adored. Contemplation does not lie primarily in the undisturbed mind's pure gaze upon eternal, unchanging truth, up there and out there. It is more a matter of seeing the ordinary and the everyday in the arena of God's presence and action. God is to be found in the rigorous sacrifices entailed in caring for the aged and infirm, the uncertainties of agrarian life and daily struggles for sustenance, complex decisions about the use and dispositions of goods, the chaste exercise of sexual energy, responsibility for the earth, the discipline of education and study, proper care and exercise of the body through nutrition, diet, the balance of work and leisure, the tedium of too much work. Nothing escapes the constant coming of God. The contemplative is the one who sees this. Contemplation is a kind of knowledge of God from the inside out, a kind of knowing God, not just knowing about God. If he is an artist, a musician, a horticulturalist, or a designer, everything he does is ordered to a deeper penetration of the mystery of loving relationship. The experience of union with God is to be found in a myriad of ways: affective, reflective, in the intellectual pursuit of truth, in the apprehension and pursuit of the good, in the simple appreciation of the beautiful. All forms of authentic human creativity, communication, and communion are potential avenues for union with the triune God. True prayer, not the kind in which we sweetly rattle off an endless list of demands before God, or endlessly agonize over meager conundrums, is a way of participating in communion with the living God. Our prayer penetrates to the heart of the Trinity when we live in such a way that the Trinitarian life of God is disclosed in all our dealings with others. In the Trinity, there is no domination and submission, no greater and lesser, no higher and lower among the three. Persons. Father, Son, and Spirit exist in a relationship that is entirely mutual, reciprocal, and equal. Human relationships are iconic of the divine life, or they can be. Sin is the rupture of rightly ordered relationship with self, another, others, and God. It is the betrayal of the gift of the life of God within, a God whose very being is loving relation, and so there remains the need for constant forgiveness for our failure to be and become a living communion with the mystery of the living God. In the whole of its liturgical life, but preeminently in the Eucharist, the monastic community enters into the deepest kind of communion with the whole church throughout the world, joined to it as members of Christ's body. The sacred communion at the heart of the world includes the dead as well as all the living. The monk lives this ministry. It is all one. He lives in the presence of the communion of saints, those who have gone before us marked with the sign of faith. They are our forebears in faith and charity. Our beloved dead are our advocates. It is they who are living in glory. This cloud of witnesses surrounds the monk and his community as they move on the way to share in that glory, in the Spirit, through Christ, to the Father. I'll stop there. I just found this book full of gems and uplifts. It focuses on a monastic community near Charleston, South Carolina. I got to visit the place. I was totally impressed with this abbey. So consider the words. You can even read the text over again if you like. And thanks for listening very much. This is Doug Blair. Bye for now.